Okay, I think it's finally time to upgrade my paddle. But where do I even start? There's so many options to choose from. If you're looking for a paddle because you're either a beginner, overwhelmed with all the options, or you don't want to spend over $100, this video is for you. Okay, so there's 3 paddles that we're going to go over in this video. And between those 3 paddles, there's also 3 pieces of criteria that I felt were important when ordering them. 1, they can all be purchased for under $100. 2, they have to be USAP approved. And 3, how do these paddles fit into the next lineup of paddles, or the next tier, if you will? The reason I feel like that's important is because at some point you're going to want to upgrade your paddle. And when you upgrade to one of those top tier paddles, ideally you want a smooth transition. Something I also feel is important is always the brands. If you've been watching this channel, you know I've always placed an importance on the brands. I really just started off with those founders interviews, but when it comes to these paddles, I wanted to choose brands that are reputable, with the exception of one of the paddles. Selkirk, one of the paddles featured in this video, is a legacy brand that has an extensive lineup of gear. Vatic Pro is one of the newer brands, but they've really made a name for themselves by making themselves more affordable at a very reasonable price. And Xspak is a brand with no real history, honestly. I don't even know who the founder is. It's just a brand on Amazon, and they create really good knockoff paddles at a very reasonable price, which isn't necessarily a good or a bad thing, depending on what you're looking for. Here are the paddle specs. I'm going to timestamp this so you can refer back to it whenever you like throughout the video. So this is the Selkirk Evo. The height is 16 inches, and the width of this paddle is 7.85 inches. The grip circumference is 4.25 inches, and the handle height is 4.85. This next one is the Vatic Pro Prism. So this paddle comes in at 16.3 inches high, 7.7 inches wide. The grip circumference is 4.125 inches, and the grip length is 5.3 inches. All right, this next paddle is the Xspak. This is 16.5 inches tall. Paddle width is 7.4 inches wide. The grip circumference is 4.35 inches, and the grip length is 5.5 inches. So people like paddles for a variety of different reasons: height, weight, handle length, swing weight, twist weight, power, pop, control, grit, spin. If you're new, you're probably going to be hearing some terms that you've never heard before, you're not familiar with, and I'm going to help break those down for you. Look, being new to something can definitely be overwhelming, no matter who you are. Twist weight reflects how much force it takes to twist the paddle head when off-center hits occur. Now, what high twist weight values do is they make paddles more forgiving, meaning you don't lose control and power when you don't hit the ball in the center. A low twist weight can mean more maneuverability. So when it comes to stability, a higher twist weight can promote stability and control, especially on off-center hits. When it comes to maneuverability, lower twist weight might offer slightly more maneuverability and feel whippier on clean hits. So when it comes to swing weight is a measure of how much effort it takes to swing the paddle and how heavy it feels when you do. So how does this impact you? It impacts maneuverability, power, and feel. As far as maneuverability goes, the lower the swing weight means it's easier to swing, but less stability when the ball impacts the paddle. In terms of power, higher swing weight generally translates to more power, but can feel less maneuverable. And when it comes to feel, a higher swing weight means it'll feel heavier when you swing. So whenever you're shopping around for paddles, or maybe you're just watching some videos, you'll see thermoformed. Thermoformed is just referring to a manufacturing process. This process was brought into pickleball, and when you see thermoformed, and you will, most people associate it with increased durability, power, and a larger sweet spot. So let's talk about pop versus power. Pop versus power. This refers to how much the ball rebounds off the paddle with or without additional force. Pop, that's more of a measure of the rebound without additional force, and power, that's more of a measure of rebound and velocity with additional force. Really quickly, I want to take a moment to thank my sponsor and also give you an exclusive discount for supporting this channel. So Vuori is a clothing brand that specializes in athletic and performance wear for both men and women. If you haven't heard about Vuori yet or tried it, ask a friend. Chances are they have or they know someone who has. I've seen it quite a bit, not only on the courts, but just walking around here in Austin. You can usually recognize Vuori on any of the shorts because it is that circular logo with a V on it. So if you want to get that discount, go to vuori.com/buildingpickleball. Not only will you receive 20% off your first purchase, but also free shipping on any orders of $75 or more, as well as free returns. All right, so the Vatic Pro. This paddle feels like it's grabbing the ball a little bit better than the other two. This feels like the ball is being absorbed by the surface more than the Selkirk. This definitely has that like thermoformed raw carbon face plush feel. Although the Vatic Pro Prism is not thermoformed, it really doesn't feel that far off from those thermoformed paddles. Looking at the Xspak, funny enough, this reminds me of one of my first paddles, which was called the Carbon. It was one of the early paddles to come into the game with that carbon fiber face. That caused a huge stir up in the industry, and those paddles eventually became banned. So I ended up having to exchange mine because it wasn't tournament approved. Regardless, this Xspak is tournament approved. It's USA Pickleball approved. The shape, the surface face, the feel, everything reminds me of that Carbon one. It feels soft when the ball comes off. Selkirk Evo Control 2.0 Max. I think this paddle has great control. As far as the surface go, it doesn't allow for much spin. That's a huge downside for a lot of people, including myself. This paddle is interesting. It does feel like the ball is like coming off a board. It has a much stiffer rebound compared to the other two paddles, which those paddles feel like the ball is being absorbed by the surface. You can feel the larger sweet spot. Of course, that's kind of a given considering that max that they have in the name means that it does have like a wider face, and this paddle is not thermoformed. All right, in terms of pop, I would actually rate the Vatic Pro number 1, the Xspak as number 2, and number 3, the Evo Control Max. In terms of power, I would actually put this Evo Selkirk as number 1. Once you hit that sweet spot, there's significant amount of power. The Vatic Pro is second, and the Xspak is third. Keep that in mind, they're all pretty close. As far as control, I would give the number 1 spot to the Selkirk. The number 2, I would give the Vatic, and number 3, the Xspak. Again, these 3 are very close in that category. As far as spin, the Vatic Pro really takes it away here. The Xspak isn't that far behind. The Selkirk is, of course, the least spinny of them all, and I would say by a long shot. So if I had to pick one paddle, an all-around great purchase based on the product, the brand, the customer service, and the price, it would be the Vatic Pro. The great thing about where pickleball is right now is that you don't have to go to the larger brands to get a superior product. The smaller guys are putting out just as good, if not better products. All right, if you've stuck around until the very end, you've been waiting for this moment for me to announce the giveaway. The reason I'm doing this giveaway is because I would love some feedback and some constructive criticism on this particular video. The best way for you to be eligible for this giveaway is for you to comment in the comment section of this video and just leave feedback. It's whatever's up to you. You know, you can say whatever you want. The harsher, the better. Actually, please don't hurt my feelings. I'm just kidding. After you leave the comment, take a screenshot of it and then DM me on Instagram. The Instagram handle is @BuildingPickleball, and you just send me the DM of the screenshot. That way, 1, I know it's you, and 2, if you win, I can reach out to you for your mailing address. Believe it or not, there are people who have tried to claim the prizes of other winners. It's absolutely ridiculous. You don't have to follow me on Instagram, although it would be great, but you really don't have to. I'm really just looking for feedback and constructive criticism on this video. In return for your time, I will be giving away one of the paddles featured in this video, which is the Selkirk, 2, this SixZero Sapphire paddle. Most of you know who SixZero is. They make great products. This was actually supposed to be featured in this video, but honestly, I didn't like the paddle, and it's just not something that I would have wanted to recommend in this video to other people. Hurts me to say because I know the founder, I know some of the employees. They obviously put out great products, but this just wasn't for me. But it might be for someone else. So enter the giveaway and it could be yours. Third, if you're looking for a bag, this is the JOOLA Vision 2 backpack. I won this in a local tournament. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. And of course, leave me any feedback and constructive criticism in the comments down below. And I will try to respond to as many of them as I can. Of course, if you write something hateful, I'm not going to respond to you because you're going to hurt my feelings. You know who you are.